Good afternoon, my friends. It is with a joyous heart that I come to you today, for it. They talk about your cup running over, and in mine, a cup is running over with joy today for what was established in your conversations in the beginning of today's session was exactly what we were setting out to have you accomplish and have you do. For you see, what you probably do not realize is that with the dawning of the age of knowledge that is coming, so much needs to be changed, and not just physically and not just mentally, but within your own selves. The idea of artwork and poetry in a language that you do not understand is part of the exercises that we needed to show people their limitations, because humanity has been limited for so many eons and eons in time. You have been taught to think limitedly. You have been taught to listen to authority. You have been taught to listen to your religious leaders, to your government leaders, and to obey them without question. And you automatically have certain things that are programmed into your mind that will need to be unprogrammed. And when people sit down and look at this artwork and hear this poem in words they do not understand, and yet they will have this emotional connection and their energetic connection and understand what's being said, even though they do not understand the words, it will show them that they are unlimited. They will show them that they are connected to the one I am, and that we are all connected, and that language is just a limited thing. And this will be an example to get people to reprogram their thinking so that they can be more multidimensional, if you want to call it that, to think beyond and exist beyond and have consciousness beyond what they can think that they can do. It will bring down walls, it will bring down barriers. And for this, we are most grateful and most thankful. So, because that is what is going to be needed in the days to come as everything changes and new paradigms come into being and the old ones need to be discarded. So, we are happy that you have discovered the steps that we laid out, that you have followed through and will proceed on this. And you will find that this will be beneficial, not just for your small group, but for many, many people on the earth will become aware of this, and it will help them to adjust in the days to come. So this is why we are so joyful and we are so happy, because the message has gotten through, and we know and we can see that you will follow through and proceed to accomplish this. And you will be amazed at the results. You right now cannot predict the results at all. And for that,
Spirit, help us out with the sound.
And for that, we are happy to tell you. So be it. If all is well, please proceed with the questions.
Thank you, Carl and Trance, for being here. We really appreciate you. We're having a few glitches with the sound, but you're good now. The first question is from Carol. I'm reading a fascinating book about the remarkable creatures we call octopuses. They are not from Terra, correct? Where do they come from and why? What are they here to teach us? Thank you.
The creatures you are talking about are here to serve as an example because they are part of the consciousness of the one I am. They are in connection with each other, as most animals are. As you probably are aware, animals can communicate with each other, and they do not have the language that you have, but yet they can communicate through telepathy and through energetic fields, and are able to talk to share thoughts and share information. The octopus, as you are talking about, is an example of that. They are here to tell you that they are not limited to communicating with those in the waters, but can communicate with the other creatures that are also on land, and including human beings. But human beings have shut down their capacity to communicate with them. And I should amend that. The majority of human beings have shut that down. There are a few people who are open to communicating with the animal kingdom, and those people who are already in communication with the animal kingdom, they can communicate with the octopus, even though even without being in their physical presence and being or seeing them or being underwater, if you want to call it that. They are here as many things as many things and many creatures will come to the surface to teach you about your unlimitedness, about being in the one I am energy and having no limits to their thoughts, to their emotions, to their energy, to their beingness. And so that is what they serve to show. Do you understand?
Thank you. The next question is from Karen. Some people are concerned about the future of this beautiful country. There are so many predictions by some trance mediums. I have listened and watched two very respected trance mediums being in deep trance recently, and to my surprise, two very different predictions regarding the future of the USA and two different predictions about the result of the presidential election. This is very important because it will affect not only our country, but also will have crucial impact on the rest of the world. This is a big responsibility. How can two respected mediums deliver two different predictions? I wonder how the spirit world can give two answers so different. Or is it the spirit world or the medium's mind? And who is correct? Thank you.
The question you raise has been raised often, and it is not unusual. I want you to think about this. Think about when you are facing a dilemma in your own physical life and you seek out guidance and you talk to one friend, and that one friend gives you an opinion. You talk to a second friend and they give you a second totally different opinion, and a third friend gives you a completely different opinion again. So now you have three people telling you three different things. Yet they all know your situation and they all know the facts of what you're asking about. So how do they get to three separate conclusions? Part of that is because every human being has their own perspective, and therefore their own truth and their own past, and therefore they give you the best information that they can at the time. It works similarly in the spirit world. You are you have the misconception that when a person sheds their physical body and enters the spirit world, that they are all of a sudden tapped into uh, everlasting truth and everlasting knowledge. But that is not the case. They are very much the same. They arrive in the spirit world with the same facts in their heads and the same belief system. And unless something happens to them that occurs in the spirit world to make them shift their opinion and shift their perspective, they remain pretty much in the same mindset that they had on earth. So it's not surprising that two different mediums are consulting two different spirits that have two different perspectives. Now, it is true that the spirit world is a timeless dimension, and those in the spirit can see into the future, but they are seeing into their future using the perspective that they have. And we also need to determine on what level of the spirit world are these spirits residing in. For as you know, there are different dimensions and different frequencies, and some different frequencies are much more advanced than others. So if the medium had been talking to a spirit that was in a higher dimension and higher frequency than the one that they were talking to, they might have received a different answer. So to answer your question is really knowing where the source is, and that is very difficult to determine because we're not talking exactly of which medium we're talking to and who the spirit person is and what dimension they're in. So that all comes into play, and it all comes into being, and why predictions can contradict each other. So when you are listening to a particular medium giving a prediction, part of what you need to determine is not only what their source material is, but also what their, you use the word track record is. How accurate has their predictions been in the past on other different subjects? Are they fairly accurate? And if that's the case, then yes, then maybe you can put your trust into what they're saying. If their track record isn't that high, then you need to take what they're saying with a grain of salt. You are also correct that sometimes a medium can have their own mental thoughts lead into what they are saying, and that is also a danger or again, it can cause inaccuracies at times. So all that is true. The point being is that it is difficult for any medium to give you exact predictions, partially not only because of that, but because you are dealing with the quantum field, and with any situation, there are multiple outcomes. So to be able to know how different things will affect it, it is difficult to know the exact outcome that will happen. I feel that I'm not being very precise with what I'm saying. Let's say with question A, there are 16 outcomes, and there are 10 months available. Well, until this event would come true. So any there could be multiple different times where something could happen to alter which of those outcomes will happen within that time frame. Uh, so it's hard to predict because everything's in flux and everything changes. So therefore, relying on prophecy is helpful, but you always have to allow for some inaccuracies. So because things can change and things can happen to alter the outcome of what when it actually comes into time for it to manifest. Speaking about your country, you are correct that there is a lot of precarious times ahead. And no matter who is becomes the next leader of your country, either person will have their hands full dealing with the other side because both sides are very entrenched in what they believe in and do not want to lose the power that there has. Your country is going to go into a time of rough waters because the divisions are so deep that it is going to take some major events to get people to realize that both sides
We
are
can't hear you right now.
stuck into
Spirit, help us out with the sound.
both sides are stuck in their own their own their own side, their
There's
own
no.
perspective.
Okay, looks like we have you back. Sid, you're actually muted again.
It might have been recorded. I don't know. It's still recording.
Okay. I mean, you're out of trance now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Where did where did it leave off? I might be able to bring back, I mean, remember what was said, so I can tell you.
Well, you're talking about the USA going through rough times, and we had two other questions. I can add them on for next month.
Um, I could try to go back in and
Okay.
see what happens.
Yeah, something's goofy with the sound tonight.
Okay, Charlotte. What is your next question?
Okay. The next question is from Susan. What sacred geometry is in humanity's highest best at this time that we can intentionally focus on and merge with to assist our divine remembrance? Thank you.
We would suggest that you continue working with what you term the crystalline sphere. See yourself as a ball of energy. You are the energy. There, energy You can concentrate on expanding the energy further and further, and it will assist you in being connected to the one I am. If you think about it, think of yourself in the exact center of that sphere. So as you reach out in any direction, it is all the same measurement, if you want to use that term. And therefore, it is imitating being unlimited because there's no walls or angles to be barriers to you. And as your sphere expands, it gets bigger and bigger, and therefore there is no limitations. It is important for you to remember that the one I am energy is unlimited. There are no restrictions. Anything is possible. So seeing yourself inside that sphere where there are no limitations is what we suggest. You understand?
Thank you. And we have one last question from Laura. How can we communicate with our adopted pets to help them or train them with new healthy habits? Thank you.
What you need to do is to communicate to them on their frequency. So we would suggest that you hold your animal and adjust yourself to go up and down into frequencies. And as you are holding the animal, when you hit their frequency, you should feel a change. It may be subtle, but once you have determined what it is, then start projecting thoughts to them on that frequency. In time, you will be able to go to that frequency very regularly. It's like training your mind to go to a certain spot. And therefore, you'll be able to talk and communicate with your animal that way. So visualize yourself while you're holding your animal by going up and down, thinking faster and faster, faster, thinking slower, 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 by going up and down until you feel that you've adjusted to their specific frequency. And then do that on a regular basis until you learn what frequency they are on. You understand?
Thank you. And thank you for working with us through the sound glitches. We appreciate your being here. We love you. Thank you.
It is our pleasure to assist you, and we are used to glitches because in dealing with a medium, that happens all the time, where the medium's energy may fluctuate and therefore communication is terminated for a bit, and sometimes it comes back and sometimes it doesn't. So we are probably more used to this than you are. So fear not about that. Again, we are happy that you are pursuing the instructions that you are receiving. from us, and you are working with the energies, and you are working in ways to become more unlimited all the time. We ask you to continue to do this in the days to come. And with that, I'll leave you with my blessings and with my peace. So be it.
Thank you.